The following podcast is brought to you by Cast Content Media.
Hey guys, it's Ron Worley, your most imperfect host of Sons of Ditches. People are liars, thieves, addicts, and assholes. Some people change, and a few make a difference. But everyone has a story. Hey guys, it's Ron Worley with another week of Sons of Ditches. This week is very special. As you can see, I have a great man, a guy I know from TikTok, believe it or not, who's inspired millions of people. I think millions of people. I know I see him on my channel, my FYP, every single day. He's also on Instagram as well. We'll give you all that stuff at the end of the show. But Mike Fiore is recently sober again and has lots of things to help people out. And I really want you guys to hear his story. It is phenomenal, and I've only heard a part of it. Mike, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. It's an absolute pleasure. Like you said, yeah, I'm recently newly clean, but so I live in a treatment facility. About 7 months ago, I had to make a decision to come back. I'm in the same treatment facility I was in last time. And I was on 140 milligrams of methadone. So the place I'm at, they actually do a blind detox. So yeah. 8 months ago was the last time I actually used another substance besides the methadone. And then on November 3rd of this year, I became drug-free.
Nice. And because you tried to get sober before, but you mentioned that you kind of just stuck around with the weed, which we've all tried that.
Yeah, last time, see, what I realized is my recovery identity has to be more than just a clean date. My recovery identity has to be more than having the right job or the right girl, because all those things we could lose. So if I were to make my recovery identity those things and lose it, I'd lose my identity. So last time I was in this program, I did things because people said I couldn't do them. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't here for myself. I was here, my family gave me an ultimatum. Like, if you don't go clean your life up, we're going to take you out of the will, something like that. And so first and foremost, I started off on the wrong foot. Like, this has to be for us. You know what I'm saying? It can't be for our kids. It can't be for nothing. Like, it has to be for us, because at the end of the day, we are the only ones that are going to go that full distance for ourselves. Yep. So when I left last time, those people that were in my life that were in this program were no longer in my life. So now I had nobody to prove wrong. So now I was kind of lost. So my philosophy on weed was I was never going to give up weed. Like, weeds, what is that going to do? So I smoked the day I got out of here last time. And it took a while before, things. I didn't wait to the rock bottom. I didn't wait to fall off the cliff before coming back because of inspired, because of some of the success I had. But the relapse was way worse. Like, I was doing Special K, Molly. I was doing drugs I've never even done at the age 37. And they say when you relapse, it does always get worse.
Right. And so, and whatever reason that is, it's very true. And this time it took you down a path that you've never been before. So different kinds of drugs, different kinds of people, I presume.
Yes.
Probably found yourself in some places you never wanted to be before. These kind of things.
Actually, what triggered my trigger is success, right? Our addiction is very manipulative. It's very cunning. It's going to meet us on whatever spectrum we're on. So if we're lazy, it's going to make us feel like okay to be lazy. If we're successful, it's going to make us feel like we're never successful enough. So my trigger was success. It was never enough. So I had to get high on top of success in order to feel the success. So the way I kind of explain to people, it's like if you're looking at a skyscraper and you're standing directly underneath the skyscraper and look up, it looks like a regular building. In order to see the features and the skyline, you got to move back. Me, on the other hand, when I would have success, I would run at success. I wouldn't allow myself to process. I wouldn't allow myself to step back and see where I'm being successful, because our addiction always wants us to move. We're not addicts because we use drugs. We use drugs because we're addicts. It's the thinking. That's why some people gamble, eating, internet, whatever it is. It's the thinking. Like, it's always about the next thing. So with me, I was never fully able to appreciate what I was doing, because I was always worried about the next thing. So I would need the drug to actually feel my success.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And that makes sense, man. I've been sober 19 years, and I just find, thank you. Right away it was, everything's great and happy. And, my new addiction was going to the gym all the time. And I found out over the years that I just found new addictions. I call them passions, but my family calls them addictions. I get into something, I do that for like 6 months, and I get super into it, and then I kind of fiddle out and do something else.
Yes.
And I have spent the last 19 years doing that, and it wasn't until just now when you said we do drugs because we're addicts. Not, did you say it that
We're
way?
not addicts. We're not addicts because we use drugs. We use drugs because we're addicts.
Right. And that just clicked, bro, because that makes total sense. I'm addicted to everything still.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my self-talk is very important. So I don't say I say good habits. I don't say failure. I say I don't hit my mark. I don't say the word impossible. I say I'm possible, because our self-talk, like, I would talk to myself in a way that if someone on the street spoke to me like that, I'd punch him in the face.
Right.
But it was okay for me. So when I talk to myself like that, that means I portray myself in a certain way. And the way I portray myself is how people are going to perceive me. So perception was what made me get into drugs, really. I wanted everyone to be my friend. I wanted everyone to like me. So I had to compromise and sacrifice my values and my beliefs in order to conform to whatever you liked. So if you believed I had things I didn't have, I was okay with it. If you believe I did things I didn't do, I was okay with it. But, so the people's perception of me, and then I had to manipulate and lie in order to become these people. But they say if you're a friend of everyone, you're a friend of nobody. So like I had to manipulate and lie. So the drugs, then it came to the point where I looked in the mirror, I didn't even know who I was looking at. So then the drugs allowed me to build an ego. And what the ego allowed me to do was be okay with the lying, and you think I'm doing good. So my ego got fed. My pride then had to come in. So my pride would be like, listen, you could get off the drugs when you need to. It's not a problem yet. So my pride would allow me to not do things. Just the thought that I can do it in the future was enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense. And I heard you say before that you would look at other people and pick them apart because you were the way you were feeling about yourself. So you couldn't love yourself as much as you loved other people, is what I took from it. And it's because we just beat at ourselves all day long.
Yes. And we're so used to life beating ourselves up on a daily basis that I think it gets comfortable, and it gets comfortable. Chaos is comfortable for me anyway, because I was the one making it. It was on my terms. Recovery is also comfortable when we're doing it on our terms. But then it comes to the point where motivation has nothing to do with this. Motivation might be 5-10%. It's the discipline that we're going to need, because I never woke up and was like, all right, I'm ready to do this. You know what I'm saying? Right. That day, the day came when I woke up and I was like, I can't effing live this way no more. You know what I'm saying? And then the discipline for me is so important, because, like I said, we're not going to wake up motivated. And in times of uncomfortability is when we grow. I took drugs to be comfortable. Our central nervous system is designed to keep us in a comfortable state. So now once we start doing drugs, our brain chemistry rewires. So now the normal person's necessity, food, water, and shelter, they're going to do whatever they need to have those in their life. The necessity becomes the drug for us. So now whenever we get uncomfortable, in order to get comfortable, our brain's going to go to the drug. That's how we're able to tell people we want to get off drugs, but yet still get high. Our brain chemistry rewired. Like, there's a science behind this.
Absolutely, man. And so is that when people say that it's not just a choice, is it, number one, is it passed down from in the family? Like, do my kids have a problem? And number two, is this why people say that it's not a choice, it's a disease?
So we're in my family, my grandfather was a heroin addict. My father was a heroin addict. He shared needles, got HIV, died of AIDS in 2009. He passed the virus to my mother. My mother lived undetected for 30 years. After he passed away, she beat 3 cancers. She lived on oxygen. I got drug-free on November 3rd. My mother died on Thanksgiving of this past year. So when we want to talk about a pink cloud, I didn't get no pink cloud when I got clean. But but I was able to get drug free for her. And I, that's the decision I had to make. I had to make to come back here and leave her. And I knew she was going to deteriorate at a quicker rate. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to do this, and I had to do it for me. And once I made that decision for me, it's not about we have to be selfish. We don't have to be self-centered though. And I think when we're getting high with everything's personal. If you're driving, you hit a red light, the red light happened because you're driving. You know what I'm saying? If there's traffic, there's traffic because I got to be somewhere. If someone was walking slow in front of me, they're walking slow to fuck with me. You know, no. Once my mother passed away, my perspective changed, and it's because I found God in my life. But my perspective changed to the point where everything has purpose now. Everything has value. I got to see how fragile and temporary life is, and want to live my life. So my perspective now is, I used to say I can't to things, so I wouldn't even try them. I would say I won't to things, so I never did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, that word I can't is a prison that we will always live in. I can, on the other hand, is a passport to success. I can means you're going to try it. I will means that you're willing to take the hits and learn from it, because there's two things that could happen when we something encounters us. We can either get wiser from it, or we could be wounded from it. We can become a better individual from it, or we become a hot mess. But the more that we endure, the wiser we should be getting. So now my perspective is, things aren't happening to me. Things are happening for me. So now everything that's going on around me, whether I like it or not, it's happening for me. When you purify gold, when you purify gold, they put it through the fire. When God's purifying us, he puts people in our path. You know what I'm saying? To help us get through. Yo, chill out, man. Sorry about that. I live in a treatment facility.
It's all good, man.
You know, I'm not too liked in here because I make people feel uncomfortable about themselves. It's not that they don't like me. It's just I'm living in a place that they're living in, and they're not working on themselves. So I used to put people around me that were doing worse off, so I could feel better about me not doing nothing. Now I want people in my life that are going to challenge me, because that's the opposite of addiction, is not sobriety. It's connections. Because I know people in recovery that are still thinking the same. I know people in recovery that are still doing the same things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The drug is just out of life, but like we were saying, the thinking is disease.
Right. Yeah. They're still addicts. They're just stopped doing the drugs.
They're just dry. That's it.
Yeah. And I, to be honest with you, it took me, I think 3 times total. Mine was alcohol and cocaine. And anytime I drank, I did everything, months upon months of Molly or ecstasy that, where I would lose complete months and wake up in freaking March and go, hey, what happened in January? So, I would lose lots of time. And now all I do is try and make up time and make sure my purpose is directed towards relationships, love, and time, moments on earth. So I wrote this book. It's called Ditches to Riches. And the richest part is not money. The richest part, not. No. And that's the hardest thing to tell people and get them to understand. And at the end of the book, I break it to them. Hey, it's not about being rich. It's not about having money. This is about how many people are going to be at your funeral. That's at the end of the day. That's what's up.
And go ahead. Sorry.
No. I mean, so the whole point of my new life as a sober person, it took me 9 years to figure out what my purpose was. And I lived what I thought was a dry drunk for 9 years, because I was still I still thought that way. I didn't have any purpose. I was wandering around, but it sounds like you've got your purpose. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to next. I know you're helping a lot of people. You're getting ready to talk at some places. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be, like I said, I live in a treatment facility, and one of the main things I do want to do is I do want to show not just addicts, I want to show the world that the stigma associated with addiction is just bullshit, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I rehab, detox, like, not everyone can do it. I get it. I understand. But it used to be like a prison sentence to me. This is when I'm learning how to live on life's terms. So my purpose is, to inspire. The name of my company is Inspire to Inspire. The reason it's called Inspire to Inspire is because I'm already inspired to inspire you, to inspire the next person. You know what I'm saying? We want to talk about rich. It's not about being wealthy. It's about being rich. Because when we die, our materialistic shit, there's no U-Haul truck that they say come, but our soul does come with us. This is just a host. The host dies, the spirit doesn't die. And in order for me to, my recovery identity, to go back to what we were saying, is how I treat people today. It's how I treat myself. It's how I talk to people. It's how I talk to myself. I'm just an extrovert, you know what I'm saying? And what's working for me is taking my backyard and make it the front porch. Because when I take my backyard and I make it my front porch, you're hearing it from me first off. And second of all, if you're gonna judge me, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Judge if you're gonna judge, but judge on how I get up, not just how I fall. If you're gonna judge on my fall, then you can kick rocks. I don't need you in my life. But when you take your backyard and you make your front porch, what that does is it filters the people out of your life that are judgmental. You know what I'm saying? And as well as when I take it out of the backyard, I don't judge myself no more. And that's the important part, because we're our own worst critics. We judge ourselves. And I heard a great quote. You'll stop worrying about what people think about you when you realize how seldom they do. You know what I'm saying? When we're getting high or we're getting drunk, we think everyone's talking about us. We think everyone's thinking about us. The focus is so much on ourselves. So stay with that for a second. Keep the focus on yourself, but now focus on yourself to get better, because there's two ends of the spectrum. And what my goal is to show people that if you could feel negativity, understand there has to be a positive associated. Why do we love summer so much? Because we can't stand winter. Why do we love success so much? Because we can't stand failure. You know what I'm saying? Why do we like victory so much? Because we hate losing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now if my addiction was the reason that I stood at the ground and I didn't fight in a metaphorical sense, my addiction is going to be the reason why I live my best life. My addiction is going to be the reason why I don't give up on myself. My addiction is going to be the reason why I love myself, because my addiction is a blessing. It is. It showed me every wrong decision to make. It showed me every wrong turn to make. The people that I'm meeting in my life, and why I think addicts are so blessed, is because once we get out of the darkness and into the light, our appreciation for life is way greater than anyone that's ever taken a drug. Because what happens when you lose something? You realize how much you needed it, or you realize how much you didn't want it. You know what I'm saying? So like with my mother, the other day I was crying. I happened to go to the house, pack some things, and I've been holding off on. So I'm crying because of regret. Feeling like, my life is so great now, and it took her passing. And then I stopped and I realized I was crying. So crying means I have remorse, right? Yeah. So remorse also means that I have love. So all that matters is this now moment. So in this now moment, I'm crying from remorse. That means I got love in my life. So that means I can love. You know what I'm saying? And regret, how I look at regret, or, I'm like taking things for granted. I'm looking back at a time where I felt worthless, where I thought I had no value. So I took things for granted, right? Now when I'm today, if I'm able to look back and see I took things for granted, that means the same things had value back then. So that means I did have worth back then. Just my addiction, it likes to speak to us in our own voice. It doesn't want us to say what's going on in our head so it can manipulate it. But what I do is I say it out loud, because once you say something out loud, it becomes real. Or you journal. I have a gratitude journal, an anger journal, a personal journal. When you write, your subconscious comes out to play. You ever have something sound so great in your head, but then go to tell somebody and you can't get the words out because you sound retarded? That's our addiction speaking to us in our own voice. Or you ever write down and reread what you wrote and be like, yo, that doesn't even sound like me? Because that's our subconscious. Our conscious mind is only focused on certain things. And when we're getting high, it's like tunnel vision. But always know your subconscious is picking up the peripheral. So for me, my videos I have a unique way of looking at things. My perspective is unique. God gave me the ability to speak. I use it to manipulate. Now I'm trying to use it to influence. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to put words together. I'm able to say things that people only say. And God created us to help each other, not to do. I don't want to be the best at anything, because for me to be the best at something, that means other people have to fail in order for me to get where I'm going. And I'm not cool with that. I want to be great, but greatness to me is waking up and not saying I wish I was dead. waking up and not having to chase a drug, waking up and making one life matter. I have a challenge at Inspire. We call it One Life Matters. And what that is holding the door open for somebody, saying good morning to someone. You can even make a life matter that's no longer here in the present by living your best life, by celebrating them and honoring them how you live today. But what happens is when you make one life matter, you make your life matter. And when you make your life matter, you see value. And when you see value, you see worth. And when you see worth, you get self-respect. And when you get self-respect, you're willing to fight. And when you're willing to fight, your tomorrow ain't as bad. And then we start living life.
That is, bro, amazing. And I think that should be a TikTok challenge right now. I mean, honestly, that is it's beautiful, man. And you're right. God has given you the ability to speak. I noticed that right away when I saw your videos. But you're also very intelligent and you've chose this path. I think people are going to follow you for a long, long ways. When do you get out of the treatment center? What's your timeline?
I don't have an expiration date. While I'm here, I don't know, I live in New York City. So in order to stay here, you have to get put on public assistance or welfare, right?
Okay.
So while I'm here, I don't have to pay for my college. So they let you stay here 2-3 years as long as you're doing the right thing. Like I run groups here. I cook for 60 people. I do whatever the house needs because this place is allowing me to save my life. Remember, we're the ones that save our lives. You know what I'm saying? This place is allowing me to save our lives. There's nobody that's going to come and save us, man. Right. And you know what? Once you realize that and once you find out that you're the one that could do it, the empowerment. So, like with my videos, it's I'm not trying to sell t-shirts. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, this is about becoming rich. This is about I ask God for a lot of things, courage, strength, wisdom. He don't snap his fingers and give us those things. He puts us through tests that builds it. So now I want to help the hopeless. I want to reach the unreachable. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to help them through my story because there's people in my life that their way made me find my way because we have to walk this our own way. We might hit similar landmarks while on this process, but it's a journey. It's not a destination. And I used to make it a destination. And I used to think it was a place I had to go to. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a place that we have to go to because when we make it a destination, it's like perfection. Perfection is boring if you think about it, because once you get to being perfect, where are you now? I don't want to be perfect. I'm okay with being imperfect. I'm okay with growing. Like happiness, the way I like to describe happiness. I live on the beach when I'm not in here. I live on the beach in New York. So like the sound of a crashing wave is my favorite, most therapeutic sound I've ever heard, right? But I was walking on the beach and I realized when that wave crashes, yes, I feel that happiness. So now let's use an analogy with life, right? So that wave crashing is my happiness, so to say, right? So after that wave crashes, what happens? That water has to retract. But when it retracts, what happens? It gets silent. So it's just like life. When you get that wave of happiness, understand in order to get more happiness, life is going to have to pull back some. Yep. It's going to have to get quiet. It's going to have to get uncomfortable. But once we could plan for something, we'll be more prepared for something. And when we're more prepared, we're more intelligent. And when we're more intelligent, we're able to process things better. And when we're able to process, we don't get overwhelmed. Remember, the emotional relapse happens way before the actual relapse. We're not dealing with our feelings in the moment. The use of the drug, that's nothing. Because remember, we're not addicts because we use drugs because we're addicts. Right. It's the feelings, the anxiety, the depression, the happiness, the sadness, the success, the failure. We're not dealing with in the moment. It's okay to be not okay. It's okay to feel things. It's not okay to allow it to consume you. So what helps me is I have something called worry time. I leave to about 8, 9 p.m. at the end of the day. So if something's happening throughout the day and it's worrying me or bothering me, I'll deal with it from 8 to 9 p.m. And sometimes I got to keep telling myself it so I can get through my day. But then you know what happens when 8, 9 p.m. comes? I just got through a whole day of doing what I needed to do that I don't even worry no more. Our addiction wants us to just stay in our head. So the best advice I could give to somebody is find someone you can trust. And that's what Inspire is. It's a judgment-free zone. We don't care what your sexual orientation is. We don't care what your religion is. We don't care what your nationality, your race. You know why? Because our addiction is not racist. It doesn't discriminate. Don't care if we got kids. It don't care if we're going to lose everything in our life. It just wants, and it just takes, and gives nothing back. So now, Inspire, we're building an army because now we're taking our fight to our addiction. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be the predators in recovery, rather prey to our addiction. And by how we do that is sharing our stories. Our stories are our weapons of mass destruction versus our disease. That's how we expose it. It doesn't want us talking to each other. It doesn't want me to be like, yo, Ron, listen, I relapsed because I was with this person thinking about that, and I had this going on in my life. I'm so selfish in recovery. I want everybody's experiences. I don't care what addiction you have. I want to know where you messed up. I want to know who you were talking with. I want to know what was going on in your life, because I was selfish as an addict. I used people as an addict to get my drugs. Why wouldn't I use people in recovery to get my recovery?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you keep mentioning that you manipulated people. And when I got sober, I realized that I still manipulated people, but you called it influence, and I love that word way more. But I manipulate people for the good now,
Yes.
And I try and use
positive manipulation.
Yeah.
Positive manipulation. I mean, kind of an oxymoron, but you know what I'm saying? But there is such a thing, because I did manipulate so well that now I can kind of shape people's thoughts into wanting them to help themselves. But I will never tell someone to go left or go right or go straight, because I don't know those. I don't know the answers, period. And that's why I'm succeeding at this, because that's what open-mindedness is. We have something called the OCA routine at Inspire. Open-mindedness, knowing that you could be wrong and someone else could be right? Communication, the C, right? Not just speaking. Listening is also communication. And I don't think many people realize that a form of communication is listening. And then the A, accountability. Accountability leads to humility, right? We need to hold ourselves accountable. We did what we did, but who we are and what we did are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, our stories lie in what we overcome, not what we've done. Drug-free has allowed me to become the architect of this story. Like, I write this story. Like Oscar Wilde, he has a great quote: "Be yourself, everybody else is taken." You know what I'm saying? I would want to be other people because I seen value in them and not myself. So I wanted to be like you, thinking it would bring me value, but it doesn't. But and the judgment. Stop letting people judge you that, first off, can't walk a night in our shoes, let alone a full day. You know what I'm saying? We lived people's nightmares on repeat. My nightmares was better than my actual life at one point. So like, I encourage people to be who you are and be happy with who you are, because when we don't live our dreams, we become the greatest story to never be told. And to go back to your funeral, right? What scared me was something Les Brown said: when you die, you know what's going to be around you? All the things you could have been, all the things you should have been, all the things you would have been. You know what I'm saying? I can't go to the cemetery is the richest place for that purpose. Books that were never written, songs that were never written, dreams that were never lived. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. And I live in the now moment. And by living in the now moment, it's vulnerability. Ego is the past, pride is the future. But by like living in the now moment and problem solving today for future opportunities makes tomorrow a little bit easier. By making tomorrow easier, tomorrow is going to become the now eventually, right? So now it makes the now easier. Facts and truths. Facts change. The fact that you and I are speaking is not going to be a fact in a few minutes. The fact that we use drugs doesn't always have to become our truths. Stop allowing our facts to become our truths. Truth is, we do recover. Truth is, we are worth it. Truth is that we are not born to be drug addicts. I don't care what. I was born on methadone and I had to be withdrawn as a baby. Does not mean that I had to be a drug addict.
Man. Damn, dude, you've been to hell and back, and I'm so glad you're here. That it's amazing. Yeah, man. You need to write a book. I'm sure you're doing that, right?
Not yet. I got so much going. I have a lot of journals, though. Eventually, the journals will probably become the book. But right now, it's slow motion, man. I'm reading a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's first things first, and that's what they talk about, prioritizing. So right now, I'm in boot camp. This is what treatment facilities are. It's boot camp. I was able to not get high on my mother's death. I will not give my mother's death to my addiction. I will not numb this pain. You know what I'm saying? I won't give it. I gave everything to my addiction. It will not get my mother. It will not. And
Yeah.
because it won't get, I made promises to my mother that I give so much love in this world. When I'm XY, I can say that's how my mother loved me. When I will never give up on anyone, especially a fellow addict. And when I'm XY, it's because my mother never gave up on me. And the third one, I can't do alone. I promised my mother that my Inspire to Inspire will change the stigma that's associated with addiction by one addict at a time, recovering one at a time, and sharing our stories.
Absolutely. Have you heard of Rat Park? Have you read this or seen this deal? So Rat Park, they did a study with rats. They put heroin in their water, and they stuck them in a cage, and they had regular water and heroin water, and the rats kept drinking the heroin in their cage, and they would eventually kill themselves with heroin. Then they made a rat park, and it had all these fun things to do in it, and other mice, and just they had other people to communicate with, or other species to communicate with, and they did the same thing. And the rats always chose the water. They chose to live because it was so much happier. And so that's the new way of looking at addicts, other than it was for 19 years ago. I mean, I'm sure it's still the same way. Don't get me wrong. However, we were looked down upon. It was a stigma of being an addict, and now they're trying to flip that switch. That these are good people that just need to be happy and fix themselves.
We're not bad people. We make bad decisions. They also, real quick, they also did that with monkeys. They gave a monkey, the same thing. The monkey would die of starvation and keep hitting the lever for the cocaine. Then they did it with another monkey, took the monkey out of that cage and let the monkey go through withdrawal. After the monkey went through withdrawal, they put that monkey now in a society of other monkeys that weren't getting high. They went to give that monkey the cocaine. The monkey refused it. That's why the opposite of addiction is connections. It's not sobriety. You know what I'm saying? Don't think just because you take the drug out. I took the drug out of my life a lot of times. There's a lot. It's like putting a puzzle together, right? First, you put the border to make it easier for you, and then you work in. Recovery is the opposite. You start from the middle piece, and you work out to the border.
Yeah.
So it has to start from within.
Absolutely. Dude, that's so smart. I love your analogies. All right, I got one for you. At the end of every show, we do a Brewster's Billions. Have you heard of Brewster Millions?
No. Talk to me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you $1 billion. You've got to spend it in a month. Okay. Got to be all gone. You can't have any money left over, and you can't have any assets. What do you do with it?
I build as many homeless shelters as I possibly can. I build as many treatment facilities as I possibly can. I try to end as much world hunger as I possibly can. Wow, $1 billion. Damn, you caught me on it. But definitely, it would all go into the betterment of people. Not $1 would go in my pocket, but 100%, I would give addicts a platform that they feel that they lost their opportunity to live their passions, whether that be music, whether that be arts, whether that be whatever it is. I give a platform where they could bring their talents back out to life. I would try to clothe as many people as I possibly can. It would all go back into those who are less fortunate, those that are fighting this fight that I'm fighting. And then maybe, that's about it.
That's all you need, man. That's good. Very admirable, very brave. So, all right, man, tell us how or where is Inspire to Inspire? Is that a website for that, or how can people check you out?
All right, so on Instagram, it's Mike, Mike, Fiore, Fiore 118. On TikTok, it's Inspire, the number 2, Inspire _. And those right now, that's all I'm doing because I'm a one-man show as far as administration goes. But hopefully that's changing. But I will be traveling. I'm going to be in Anderson, Indiana, and Indianapolis, Indiana from February 8th to February 11th. Then I'm part of an app called the Sober app. We're launching that in Cali from the 11th to the 13th, and then I'm speaking at 2 prisons in Colorado on my way back to New York. But the Sober app is basically a one-stop shop for all amenities: tracking, PDF books, audio books, podcasts, motivational speakers, communities, meal prepping, exercising, everything in one place. Because sometimes we have to go to so many different places to find these things. And
Yeah,
the
for
Sober
sure.
app is just going to bring it all together.
That is a brilliant, freaking brilliant idea, man. Is that your idea, or so you're with
No,
a group?
I'm actually the spokesperson. I know the founders.
Yeah.
They brought me on board because I guess, I have a way
Duh.
with words. And they're using the Inspire platform to propel. And anyone that's listening to this, if you have anything that you need to get out onto the internet or you need help promoting yourself, don't even hesitate. Reach out to myself. I will help you as much as I possibly can, because Inspire is not mine. I might have founded it, but it's for everybody. It's for us to give ourselves an opportunity to win just one day at a time, win these battles. But you got to have your passion in your life. It can't be just your occupation. It has to be present. The soul needs to feel that. The soul needs it. We need happiness in our life.
Man, you're amazing, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a true joy. And good
I
luck.
appreciate being on.
You be sure and look me up when you come to Colorado. I'm around, wherever you're.
Oh yeah. So when I'm leaving Cali, I'll definitely reach out. Maybe we'll do a podcast live.
There you
Maybe
go.
we'll
I love it.
I'm with it. We'll schedule it 100%. I appreciate you having me on your show. I appreciate your platform. I thank you for showing the world that we do recover, and just keep inspiring, man. Inspire to inspire.
You're the best. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for tuning in to Sons of Ditches. For more information, go to my website, ronworley.com, and my YouTube channel, Sons of Ditches. Facebook, Ron L. Worley, or Instagram at Ronald L. Worley II.